Remember the ATF classification letter from years back, concluding that a shoestring is a machine gun? Well, we have one better than that to share with you today. About a year ago, after conducting a technical examination of a product submission, ATF reported that it could not decide whether a metal water bottle might in fact be a firearm. This isn't a joke. This is something that actually happened. These ATF documents show how the ATF completely reversed its own internal guidance in order to target Polymer80. Hey guys, it's Phil with the Minuteman Moment. Please like this video and subscribe to our Instagram page. In a recent April 30th, 2021 letter, also obtained through the Gun Owners of America and Gun Owners Foundation FOIA request, ATF was asked to determine whether a 24-ounce metal water bottle is a firearm. Along with the water bottle, the requesters submitted a sheet of paper explaining how a person theoretically could take the water bottle, purchase additional parts, including a barrel and a grill lighter, and possibly turn the water bottle into a functioning firearm. It's obvious this water bottle is not a firearm, but the big brains over at the ATF couldn't seem to reach the same conclusion. And after conducting a technical examination of the submitted water bottle, ATF reported that it could not classify whether the submitted water bottle is or is not a firearm as defined in the Gun Control Act or National Firearms Act. Like, what? According to the ATF's absurd reasoning, even though only a water bottle was submitted, if that same water bottle was possessed with all the parts and instructions necessary to complete it into a weapon, this combination of parts could be considered a kit and therefore a firearm under the Gun Control Act or National Firearms Act. So, according to the ATF, not only might an innocuous water bottle actually be a firearm in disguise, it might actually be a machine gun. So don't tell me that the ATF is just an agency implementing federal law. This is a rogue agency that just makes up new law as it goes along, deliberately seeking out whatever path will be the most destructive to the industry and result in the most tyrannical oppression of law-abiding gun owners. In recent days, Gun Owners of America was sent some internal ATF documents in response to one of its Freedom of Information Act requests. For those who don't know, Polymer80 is a popular company that manufactures gun parts and other non-firearms like 80% frames and receivers. In December 2020, ATF raided the headquarters of Polymer80, claiming the company was illegally manufacturing and distributing firearms, failing to pay related taxes, shipping firearms in interstate commerce, and not conducting background checks for sales of its popular buy, build, shoot kits. These buy, build, shoot kits include an unfinished 80% handgun frame, along with the remaining parts necessary to manufacture and assemble a functioning firearm. Of course, the ATF had already explicitly said in 2017 that the compact-sized Polymer80 frame does not constitute a firearm or the frame of a receiver of a firearm under federal law. After receiving that favorable ATF classification for its Glock 19 compact-sized frame, Polymer80 then sought approval from the ATF to sell virtually the same product, only this time as a slightly bigger Glock 17 full-sized 80% frame. The ATF documents GOA obtained tell the rest of the story. There's nothing out of the ordinary with what Polymer80 is doing as far as seeking guidance from the ATF about products it intends to bring to market. Unfortunately, lots of companies in this space need to do that because the ATF never provides clear standards. Instead, they prefer to act arbitrarily, with gun owners and the industry left in the dark about the ATF's interpretation of the law. This means that the only way to have any surety that ATF won't kick down your door is to ask the government's permission before selling you products. But back to the story. In February of 2018, the ATF refused to render a classification on Polymer80's full-size frame, claiming that Polymer80 had not submitted a complete product. What the ATF claimed was that Polymer80 had only submitted its 80% frame, but not the other items that come with it, like the jig, the drill bits, and the frame pins. Of course, the ATF had no statutory grounds for demanding these other parts, since the ATF's job is to regulate firearms, not gun parts. But this brings us to the ATF's flawed legal theory. ATF's 2018 classification letter of Polymer80's full-size frame references not only the definition of a firearm, but also the definition of a handgun. Here it is from the ATF letter to Polymer80. A handgun is defined as a firearm which has a short stock and is designed to be held and fired by the use of a single hand and any combination of parts from which a firearm can be assembled. What's new here is that in this letter, ATF claims that while Polymer80 frames may not be a firearm by itself, when combined with other parts, the complete package somehow transforms into a combination of parts from which a handgun can be assembled. So far as we know, this is the first time that ATF has made this sort of claim. It's obvious ATF regrets having approved the original Polymer80 frame, which has been wildly popular with gun owners who want to make their own firearm. So rather than blatantly reversing its original letter, ATF instead decided to pretend that unregulated Polymer80 frames magically become firearms when combined with other parts, even though none of the parts in the kit is a firearm by itself. But not only are ATF's attacks on Polymer80 in clear violation of the law, but the claims ATF makes about Polymer80's buy, build, shoot kits are the exact opposite of statements made in prior ATF classification letters. Documents obtained by Gun Owners of America and Gun Owners Foundation show that in August 16, 2006, a letter to a redacted company, ATF expressly approved the sale of DIY gun kits, stating, "Your incomplete receiver was previously examined and was classified as a non-firearm. Selling this item as a kit with blueprints, parts, etc. will not change this classification." Again, this is exactly the opposite of what the ATF is now claiming with the Polymer80's buy, build, shoot kits. You may want to go hide your water bottles or machine guns or however it is the ATF interprets it. It's frightening to imagine what the ATF will think up next, but you can be sure that GOA will be on the front lines uncovering the agency's misdeeds and fighting back in both Congress and the courts. This is not only unconstitutional, but indicative of an agency that has totally lost its way and become an academic institution with unconstitutional police powers.